Check out this tweet, Chris Trapasso. Massive defensive regression from 2023 to 2024 for the Browns. A season ago, minus 0.157 EPA per play in non-garbage time, second best in the NFL. This year, 0.065 on the positive side per play in non-garbage time, 24th in the NFL. Jake, again, on brownsfilmbreakdown.com. I know you watch a lot of this. When you look at it, what have been the reasons for all of the? I mean, there's major breakdowns, and what's been the biggest disappointment defensively?
Let me put it this way. I think it's anytime it goes this direction so drastically, there's not just one reason. I think we could all agree on that. It's the second year of Jim Schwartz tenure, so there's more film, there's more tendencies. That leads offenses to have better game plans. And we've pinpointed a lot of that on the website where offenses are attacking them, how they're attacking them, and the need to certainly evolve. And I think they have tried to evolve in specific ways in coverage. And I would say their coverage plans, the evolution they have tried, has not been as good as you would hope. I think there's no doubt that Jim Schwartz is a better developer of defense around aggressive approach, closed coverage, a lot of man, and kind of sprinkling in cover three. They really are one of the few teams in the NFL who don't run quarters, cover four, and they like to use cover two, and then they like to use different ways to use cover two, such as inverted cover two, that are just risky coverages. And we saw a couple examples of this over the course of the last 4 weeks, right? Like the Chargers on a 3rd and 17 early in the game caught the Browns in cover two on a 3rd and long, like I said, and kind of manipulated Denzel Ward, his eyes, and hit a corner touchdown that is like, how in the world does that happen? But cover two there is just not a very good call. It's just not to a 3-man side like that. And again, if you're curious why I'm saying that, like there's a huge breakdown we did on the website around that. And then like the inverted cover two stuff, which is instead of having your safeties be the deep half players, you're having your corners often tilt into the deep half and having players in the back half like a safety, or if usually it's a one high safety, kind of play down in the middle hole. You're putting a corner in a stressful position to be able to run things down and help play that deep half. And that Bo Nix 93-yard touchdown is a Mike linebacker trying to run with a vertical route wide receiver. Good luck. And if Denzel doesn't get there to help over the top of that from his outside alignment, then it's a touchdown. And that's what we saw. Denzel was like literally a half second off of getting there. But that's it. And my theory here is that I don't think Jim Schwartz is an apt developer of modern coverage based on how the NFL is played. He does some really unique things in his pressure looks, and I think he gets his guys to play really hard. And for the most part, that yields some pretty good results. And especially against overwhelmed offenses or overwhelmed young quarterbacks, it usually, and last year had a lot of this, right? You got to think like weather games in that building, wind, the rain, the Jets, the Cardinals. I'm trying to think of just teams off the top of my head that played bad quarterbacks against them last year by virtue of their guy was hurt or whatever. The schedule sort of worked favorably on that stuff. And we tried to warn everybody about that this year, that a regression was coming because of that and because of the amplified amount of film. And could Schwartz develop air quotes a consistent change up to what he traditionally likes to do to keep opposing coordinators and quarterbacks confused? And I just don't feel like that's been good enough. And to add to that, um, and Martin Emerson is like I kind of equate it to like a reliever who has lost confidence. He is still has all the things he needs, right? He's still got the fastball, he's still got the breaking ball, but he doesn't really feel comfortable with what he knows is the scouting report, right? Like, hey, you need to be here, there, the other. I think early in the year he lost confidence after Malik Neighbors kind of put him through the blender in that Giants game. And from there, it's like he's just a beat slow. He doesn't trust it. He doesn't want to get beat, so he's a little slow in jumping routes, and he's not the twitchiest guy. So that can lead him to some trouble in terms of like being a slight bit late. And I also think offenses have pinpointed how to attack him. And Greg Newsome, like I think Denzel Ward is having an all-pro season. but the people around in the secondary, in terms of Martin Emerson and Greg Newsome, have not had very good seasons. So then that puts a lot of drives continuing to happen because of third down failures. And then up front, it's been like teams know how quickly they have to get rid of the ball, and that leads to less time to pressure, because again, the way you confuse quarterbacks and get them to hold on to the football is you change the pre-snap to post-snap coverage. You confuse them with a look and make them hold on to it longer than they should, and they just haven't done enough of that. And that's kind of the crux of it. I just believe that Schwartz is not as from like a what is this guy good at as a play caller, etc. Um, he's just not really good at that zone, like a cohesive zone coverage plan. And teams are getting better at identifying and kind of going at their man coverage, and that's why you see the results they have. And they've had very little turnover luck this year too. That has regressed in a pretty serious way. I know they just got a couple turnovers the other night, but for the most part, their turnover luck has been in a different direction. So last year, just really good at getting off the field with creating negatives early in drives and then getting off the field quickly. And this year, they have just not been able to close the door, create enough negative plays early to then have an easier third down, close the door, get off the field scenario. And I think that's where we're seeing some of those things come back to bite him. I'm less confident that Jim is the perfect long term answer, the way maybe a former head coach like Steve Spagnuolo has been for the Chiefs, and some of these others, where it's like I just don't know his ability to consistently adapt coverages and use personnel in a way that is confusing week to week for his guys, for the opposing quarterback and play caller. We just haven't seen enough of that. They're not bad. I mean, you can certainly do worse here, right? Like, it's not that they're bad. I just think that there's pretty clear ways offenses are going about attacking them, and they have done a nice job of figuring out down and distance based coverage tendencies, and that's where they're getting hurt in a pretty bad way this year.